Okay, we are live. If there is anybody in the chat section, please let me know if I'm properly audible and visible to you. Just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat section so that I can start my session. I can start my session. So guys, in today's session as well, we are going to practice questions based on machine learning, and we are going to see that how to solve those questions, what would be the approach. So let's just take a minute so that more students would join, and then we'll start the session. And guys, in mid of the session, in any question, if you have any confusion or anything, you can just let me know in the chat section. Okay, so shall we start solving questions? Okay. So guys, this is a question. It says that here is a two-dimensional plot showing two functions that classify data points into two classes. Red points belongs to the one class and green point belongs to another, right? The dotted blue line F1 and dashed pink line F2 represent two trained function. So F1 is one function, F1 is one function and F2 is another function. Yeah, so this f1 is one function, f2 is another function. Now they are asking which of the two functions overfit the training data. Just tell me guys, which of the two functions would overfit the training data out of f1 and f2? This is simple. Tell me guys, out of f1 and f2. Right, Azam. Anybody else guys? Anybody have any idea? So guys, see, this f1 is a straight line and f2, what f2 is doing? F2 is working on the training data in such a way such that it is perfectly fitting my training data, right? So that means in case we have high bias, sorry, in this case we have low bias. For f2 case, we have low bias, and because of this low bias, and this model is like working only on my would only work on my training data. If I'll give different data sets for testing, right, it would give different results based on that, right? So that's why we have so much variance in that in f2. So we have low bias, high variance, low bias, high variance, and it means we have overfitting. So that means f2 is f2 overfits. Just simple question. Right, guys, F2 overfits. Now let's see next question. Right, C is correct here. This is another question. Which of the two functions will yield higher training error? Tell me, guys, out of F1 and F2, which will yield higher training error? Because F2 is overfitting, right? We know that F2 is overfitting. So we have low bias, high variance. So that means we have higher training error in F1, right? Because in case of F2, we are having low bias. Low bias means we are getting low error on training data in F2, right? So F1 has a high bias in this case as compared to F2, right? So function F1 is true here. Right, Azam. F1 has higher training error. Just let me know, guys, if in this question anybody have confusion or any doubt. If not, let's move forward to next question. This is another question regarding bias and variance. Which of the following statements are true? This is a simple question, right? So we know that bias and variance. So they are asking that model which overfit. What they have? The model which overfit have low bias and high variance, because it only works on training data. It does not gives us good results on testing data. Low bias, high variance. So C, which is correct? So B is correct, C is correct. So two options are correct here, B and C. Right. So B and C are correct options here. Simple question, right? So I can check here B and C are my correct options. Let me know if anybody have confusion in this question. If not, let's quickly move to next questions. Let's solve more questions. Yeah, state whether the statements are true. When the hypothesis space is richer, overfitting is more likely. When the feature space is larger, overfitting is more likely. Tell me, guys. So we'll have overfitting when feature space is larger, right? Because we'll add more features. More features would help us to get overfitting. And also, if hypothesis space is that we have applied so many conditions on our model. So what our model would do, model would try to fit the training data, and we'll get a overfitting, right? So here, C is true. C is correct, guys. Now, next question. Which of the following techniques can reduce overfitting in machine learning model? Increasing the model complexity, decreasing the amount of training data, adding more features to the model, applying regularization technique, which would help you in overfitting, right? To reduce overfitting. What can I do here? Tell me, guys, what we can do to reduce overfitting. Tell me, guys, which of the option is correct here. So, guys, if I'll increase the model complexity, so we know that if I'll increase the model complexity, it would increase my, or it can, let's say if you are increasing model complexity, right? If I have only wx plus b, that means I am taking w1x plus w2x square plus b. That's why I am increasing the complexity. So that means in this case, bias reduces, and also variance. What would happen to variance? It depends on my data set, right? If I increase the complexity of my model, we'll have bias reduces, and variance would depend on my model. Like if I have this kind of a data set, let's suppose we have this kind of a data set, so obviously linear function would not work. I have to take this function, right? If I'll take a linear function here, so then I'll have high bias, but it would give me low bias. So that means increasing the model complexity will increase overfitting, right? Previously, when I have taken only wx plus b, this line, right, single complexity, I am taking linear function. So you can see that I am getting simple function, but if I increase the complexity, I have increased the power of a polynomial, right? So it is giving me more complex model. That means if I'll increase more and more, it would increase my overfitting, not reduce, right? Now, decreasing the amount of training data. So if decreasing the amount of training data obviously would not help, but if I'll increase the amount of training data, that can help, right? So this is also not true. Also not true. Adding more features to the model. If I'll add more features to the model, then I'll have always, what would have, overfitting occur, because that feature I'll take into consideration to make my model, right? I'll add more and more features to work on my model. So that's why adding more features would not help me to reduce overfitting. Only regularization techniques helps me to work on my model. And if you guys remember, Rich and Lasso, we have worked in the last class, both are regularization techniques, right? What would it would do? It would add k summation or modulus of wi, right? Now what would happen? Either k or lambda you can take as regularization parameter. So it would make sum of wi 0, right? So it would reduce number of features, which would help you in your overfitting. It would reduce overfitting. Okay, so that's why here option D is correct. Let me know if this thing is clear. Uh, Otherwise, let's move to next question. So guys, this is a question. After training a model, you observed a significant gap between training and test performance metrics. Okay, let's leave this question. I think this question has some error. Yeah, let's solve this. Cross validation is a model evaluation method. So you all know what is cross validation, right? It says that leave one out cross validation. What is leave one out cross validation? What would you do? Let's suppose you have to train a model, and let's suppose you have n data points in a data set, in a training data set. So what would you do? You would keep one for cross validation, and you would train one first model, right? And you would take all those data points instead of second one and train another model. Similarly, you would train n models based on this data set, right? And that is your leave one out cross validation. That means when training a model, you are particularly leaving one data point for your cross validation set, right? So you can see that k-fold cross validation taken to its logical extreme, right? What is k-fold cross validation? I'll divide the data set into k parts, right? And each time I'll leave one of the part and train a model. But in this case, I'll take, for k, in place of k, I'll take k is equals to 1, right? So that is my leave one out cross validation. Sorry, k is equals to n. K equals to n, number of data points in the set. That means n separate times the function approximator is trained on all the data except for one point, and a prediction is made for that point. Now they're asking that does it iterates over the other data points, keeping the rest of the data set fixed? Obviously, that I told you. What can be the major issues in leave one out cross validation? Just tell me, guys, what would be the major issues you would face? Tell me, guys. Let me know in chat section what would happen here. Would we have low variance, high variance, faster runtime, or slower runtime as compared to k-fold cross validation? Think about it and let me know. So guys, decreasing the value of k, what would happen if in k-fold cross validation I'll decrease the value of k? Just tell me about that. If I'll decrease the value of k, see, when I have taken k is equals to, sorry, increase the value of k. If I have taken k is equals to 1, that means I am leaving only one data point for cross validation and training on the remaining ones, and I get my first model. Now for the second model, what would happen? I'll take a second model, I'll leave second point and train my data on remaining points, right? And this is for cross validation, because this first point I am taking for cross validation, here the second point I am taking for cross validation, for the third point I am taking for cross validation. So that means each model is completely dependent on this particular point, right? This first model, what is happening here, that this particular point, first particular data point, this is for cross validation. If your model is not giving good error for this particular point, you would train your model again, right? This would give you major error, so you are not going to take this model forward, right? What cross validation does, you would take the cross validation test before the testing data, so that it would let you know that how you are working, right? How your model is working, is it giving good results or not? If it is not giving good results, you would again go on training process, right? So that means here this particular point is very important. So that means we are giving a importance to a single point, right? Here I am giving importance to this point, here I am giving importance to this point, in third one I am giving importance to third point. When I give importance to each of the data point, what would happen? Your model would likely to overfit. Why it would overfit? Because it would capture the basic details of the model which we do not require in our generalized model, right? What would happen here, like if you would talk about linear regression model, let's suppose you are getting this kind of a region. So see, if you have this cross or this dot, and we have all these cross, because of this dot, or let's say we have here cross 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 and here dot dot dot, so you can see that because of this dot point, your data set, like because of this particular data point, there is a bump in your model, right? We do not generally require that. We basically want this kind of a model which generalized my further data set as well, not only on training data, right? So that's why, because of this, if I increase the value of k, I can have overfitting, right? So I can have overfitting. If I have overfitting, that means I have high variance, low bias. So in this case, I have high variance, and also I have faster runtime or slower runtime. I have slower runtime. Why I'll have slower runtime? Because previously I was finding out only n by k models, right? If k is some positive value. Now I'm finding out n models. That would large, right? So here option B and D are correct. Let me know, guys, if there is any confusion in this. Azam is asking how many lectures are there in this machine learning series. Azam, basically we have 3 sessions. One session I already had yesterday, and this is the second session. If it require more, I have a lot more questions. Then I'll take some more sessions to cover all the questions. Let me know, guys, if there is any confusion in this. If not, let's move to next question. Guys, this is a question. If zz is a sigmoid function, then its derivative with respect to z is. Just tell me, guys, quickly. What is this sigmoid function? Sigmoid function we basically take in logistic regression so that our values lies between 0 to 1. So this is a function 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus z. Tell me, guys, what is a derivative with respect to z? Let me know, guys. So what would you do? You would find out g dash z. So guys, I'm just solving it. There is no need to solve it. I hope you already have solved in your in when you have worked on cost function of logistic regression. We always find out the derivatives, right? I'm just showing you that how to find out the derivative. Basically, what would I do? Let's simplify it. Let's write down gz is equals to 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus z minus 1, and I can use chain rule, right? So what chain rule says? Chain rule says g dash minus 1 plus e to the power minus z minus 2, and differentiation of this inside brackets. So differentiation of 1 is 0. Differentiation of e to the power minus z is minus e to the power minus z. This minus minus plus, you would have e to the power minus z upon 1 plus e to the power minus z square. Now you can write down this as 1 plus e to the power minus z upon 1 plus e to the power minus z square plus, or let's say not plus, let's write down minus e to the power minus z, sorry, minus 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus z square, right? Now this get cancelled. You can take 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus z outside. 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus z. 1 minus 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus z. You are left with this, and this is what? This is nothing but gz, and this is nothing but gz. So you can see that the derivative of sigmoid function is gz into 1 minus gz. I hope this thing is clear. Okay, if this thing is clear, let's move to next question. Here D is correct, right? Okay, so guys, this is a question. Why is the odd value of k we prefer over an even value of k in KNN algorithm? So I hope you all know what is KNN algorithm. KNN is k nearest neighbor. So in k nearest neighbor, let me just give you a quick overview. Let's suppose we have this data set, right? This is a data set. Now, let's suppose I have a particular query. This is star, and I'm working on 3 nearest neighbor. So what would I do? I'll take 3 nearest neighbor of the star. So I find out these are 3 nearest neighbor, and I'll find out here we have 3 cross and 0 dots. So that means we have maximum number of cross in the neighbor of this star. So star is assigned as cross. So KNN algorithm works on the principle that you are uh, you are average of 5 people or k people around you, right? So this is doing the same thing, right? Now the question is that why odd value of k preferred over an even value of k in KNN algorithm? So guys, there might be a case. Let's suppose we have this, right? I am working on 4 NN algorithm, 4 nearest neighbor. So see, when I am working on binary classification, what would happen? See, in this neighborhood of star, I have two circles and two cross, right? So that means 2 cross 2 circles, right? I am having a, like, I'm not having a result here. I do not know whether cross is large or dot is large. So that's why we prefer odd value of k over an even value of k. Right, Azam. Right, there is an issue that this star belongs to either cross or circle. So that's why we prefer odd value of k over an even value of k. So guys, this is another question. K nearest neighbor is a non-parametric eager, parametric eager, non-parametric lazy, parametric lazy. What we can say about k nearest neighbor? Right, Azam, we can say that. That would be the correct thing. Right, guys. So k nearest neighbor is non-parametric and it is lazy algorithm. Why is it non-parametric? Because we do not have any parameters to train in k nearest neighbor, and also it is a lazy algorithm because we do not have any training process. Everything we do in the testing process. Right? What would we do? Let's suppose we have a query. We'll take that query to my data set and see that, let's suppose we have decided we have to work on 5 nearest neighbor. So in when I have a query, then I can work on k nearest neighbor. If I do not have a query, what I can train? I can just load my data set. That is my training process. There is nothing else I have to do in the training time. Right? So we do not have any training here. Everything we have to do. And every time a new query comes, I have to do everything again. Right? Let's suppose what is how KNN works. Let's suppose we have these let's suppose we have these data points cross and these dots. Let's suppose this is my query. So what this star would do, right? Once I get a query, I have to find out the distance of this query with all the data points, right? And finding out distance with all the data points is again time taking. And then I'll find out what is my k nearest neighbors, right? I'll take those k nearest neighbors and then I'll work on my algorithm. Like I'll work on my results, that how many cross that nearest neighbor has and how many circles that nearest neighbor has, right? So that is lazy learning algorithm because we do not have any training process. We say that k nearest neighbor is non-parametric and lazy. Let me know, guys, if this thing is clear. Okay, if this thing is clear, let's move to next question. So next question says that KNN algorithm does more computation on test time rather than train time. Obviously, that is true, right? We already have discussed that this is true, right? This is true. We already have discussed why it is true. So I'm moving to next question. So guys, the question here is that can KNN algorithm be used for a regression problem? In the last class, I think one of the student has asked me as well that can we use KNN for regression problem? Can you guys let me know that can we use that? Would be able to use it? So yeah, we can use it. What would I'll do? Let's suppose we have some of the data points. Let's say I'm plotting those data points, right? So these are my data points. Some query comes. I'll take, let's say I'm taking 4 nearest neighbor. Let's suppose. So not let's take, not 4. Let's take 3 nearest neighbor. So if I'll take 3 nearest neighbor, so these 3 are the nearest neighbor. I'll find out this value. So let's suppose this is 45, this is 23, and this is 72. So what would I do? I'll take average of all these 3 values, 45 plus 23 plus 72 divided by 3, right? So that's how we find out regression for KNN, right? So we can use regression for KNN, but generally we do not use KNN for regression. but yeah, you can do that. Guys, this is a question given to this is a GATE 2024 question. Let me write down here. GATE 2024. Given the two-dimensional data set consisting of 5 data points from 2 classes, circles and squares, assume that Euclidean distance be used to measure the distance between 2 points. Minimum odd value of k is measured in k nearest neighbor algorithm, for which the diamond shaped data point is assigned the labeled square is. So yeah, tell me what k value I'll take so that the diamond would be the square, right? Diamond would be the square. That means I have to assign diamond as a class square. Tell me, guys. What would be the value of k can be? So see, guys, minimum odd value of k they are saying. So I'll start with k is equals to 1 because they are saying odd value. So I can only take 1, 3, 5, 7 like this. So let's take k is equals to 1. If I'll take only one data point, so you can see that this is closest one, and you can see here only we have one circle, right? Obviously, if we have one circle, so this diamond would be assigned as circle. So 1 is not true. Let's say I'm taking k is equals to 3 because they are saying odd value. So if I'll take 3 nearest point, so these 3 would be the nearest point. 2 circle, 2 circle and 1 square. So obviously circle is more, so that means diamond is assigned as circle, but we want diamond should assigned as square. So this is also not true. Let's suppose I'll take k is equals to 5. Now, in case of k is equals to 5, now somebody asked, ma'am, why we are not taking k is equals to 4? Because they already have mentioned that you have to take odd value of k. So if you would take k is equals to 5, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these all 5 points would come. And in this 5 points, we have 2 circles and 3 square, right? So obviously, now your diamond is assigned as square. So now you can say that k is equals to 4, assign diamond as square. So k is equals to 5 is my correct answer. Right, Akhil and Azam. K is equals to 5 is correct. So I hope this question is clear to you. Let's move to next question. Okay, consider a set of 5 training example as xi, yi, ci. Right, ci is the class assigned to the data coordinate xi, yi. Where xi and yi are 2 attribute values, ci is binary class label. So now you can see that we have given 5 data points with their assigned class. 1, 1 is assigned as -1, 1, 7 is assigned as +1, 3, 3 is assigned as +1, 5, 4 is assigned as -1, 2, 5 is assigned as -1. Classify a test example at coordinates 3, 6 using a KNN classifier with k is equals to 3 and Manhattan distance defined by duv, pq is equals to u minus p, v minus q. That means we have to use Manhattan distance and we have to find out that what class I'm going to assign this point 3, 6. Yeah, I can explain, but I don't know that all of the students can understand in Hindi, right? All of the students are from north side. I just don't know if somebody is from south side. Okay, so this question says that हमारे पास 5 ट्रेनिंग एग्जांपल्स है. अब ये 5 ट्रेनिंग 1, 1 क्लासिफाई हो रहे हैं -1. दैट मींस जो क्लास है 1, 1 की वो -1 है. 1, 7 की क्लास 1 है, 3, 3 की क्लास 1 है. अब इस डेटा सेट को यूज करके मुझे 3, 6 डेटा पॉइंट की क्लास निकालनी है विद द मैनहट्टन डिस्टेंस. दैट जो मुझे डिस्टेंस यूज करना है वो मैनहट्टन डिस्टेंस यूज करना है. ठीक है, तो बताओ मुझे guys, tell me if anybody have any problem for like me speaking in Hindi. चलो थोड़ा हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स रखते हैं ताकि सब स्टूडेंट्स कवर कर ले. ठीक है. ओके, सो क्या करना है सबसे पहले, 3,6 का डिस्टेंस निकालो 1,1 के साथ, 1,7 के साथ, सब डेटा पॉइंट के साथ। फिर देखो कि कौन से क्लोजेस्ट है, क्योंकि के 3 है तो मुझे 3 क्लोजेस्ट डेटा पॉइंट्स लेने हैं और फिर उसके हिसाब से क्लासिफाई करो। ओके, तो उसके हिसाब से क्लासिफाई करना है। चलो करो। अब देखो 3,6 का डिस्टेंस 1,1 के साथ 3 माइनस 1 प्लस 6 माइनस 1, दैट वुड गिव मी 2 plus 5, that means 7 units of distance. Again 1,7 का distance 3,6 के साथ 3 minus 1 plus 6 minus 7, that would give me 2 plus 1, that means 3. 3,3 के साथ 3 minus 3 0 plus 3 minus 6 3, that means 3, right? 5,4 के साथ 5 minus 3 plus 4 minus 6, ठीक है, 2 plus 2, that means 4. 2,5 के साथ 2 minus 3 plus 5 minus 6, तो ये कितना हो गया 1 plus 1, that means 2. सो नाउ अगर हमें देखूं सबसे क्लोजेस्ट कौन से है, ये क्लोजेस्ट है, ये भी क्लोजेस्ट है, ये भी क्लोजेस्ट है, सो दैट मींस 3 डेटा पॉइंट्स जो क्लोजेस्ट है, दैट इज 1,7, 3,3 और 2,5. अब इन तीनों में से मैं जैसे कि देख रही हूँ यहाँ पे 2 plus 1 में क्लासिफाई हो रहे हैं और 1 minus 1 में, राइट? तो अब मुझे 3,6 को क्लासिफाई करना है। अब 3,6 के नियरेस्ट नेबर में 2 +1 वाले पॉइंट्स हैं, एक -1 वाला, तो ऑब्वियसली मैक्सिमम पॉइंट्स किसके हैं, +1 वाले, सो 3,6 क्लासिफाई होगा एज +1. Okay, Azam. Guys, you have to make sure that whatever the distance they have used, they have given, you have to use that, right? वही distance use करो जो क्वेश्चन में दिया है. चलिए, किसी को कोई दिक्कत है इस क्वेश्चन में? Guys, any doubt in this question? अगर नहीं है तो चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं अगले क्वेश्चन पे. देखो क्वेश्चन दिया है, गिवन द फॉलोइंग लेबल डेटा सेट फॉर व्हाट मिनिमम वैल्यू ऑफ के विल द क्वेरी पॉइंट क्वेश्चन बी गिवन नेगेटिव. नाउ अब मुझे क्या करना है, जो क्वेश्चन है इसको नेगेटिव क्लासिफाई करना है, तो मैं के की क्या मिनिमम वैल्यू लूं, के की क्या मिनिमम वैल्यू लूं जो कि ये मेरा क्वेश्चन मार्क गिवन है यहाँ डेटा सेट में, वो -1 क्लासिफाई हो जाए, माइनस क्लासिफाई हो जाए. क्या लेंगे के की वैल्यू, ये अगेन गेट डेटा गेट वाले क्वेश्चन जैसा सेम सा क्वेश्चन है. राइट गाइस, देखो अगर एक लोगे तो ऑब्वियसली ये पास आ जाएगा, अगर एक ही लोगे तो ये पास आएगा, दो लोगे ये पास आएगा, अभी भी 2 प्लस ही है, राइट? 3 लोगे तो ये 3 पास आएंगे, लेकिन तीनों ही प्लस है. 4 5 6, 6 भी लोगे तो भी ये 3 डिवाइड हो जाएंगे, तो तुम क्लासिफाई नहीं कर पाओगे, इधर 3 प्लस और 3 माइनस, किसको क्लासिफाई करो, तो तुमको 7 लेनी पड़ेगी के की वैल्यू. सो दैट मीन्स आई हैव टू टेक द वैल्यू ऑफ के एज 7 सो दैट मैं क्लासिफाई कर पाऊं दिस क्वेश्चन मार्क पॉइंट्स को एज माइनस, राइट? वी ऑलरेडी डिड सेम टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन, सो आई एम नॉट जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग इन डिटेल दिस. अगर किसी को कोई भी दिक्कत है तो जस्ट लेट मी नो, अगर नहीं है तो आगे बढ़े गाइस. वी हैव लॉट्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन टू सॉल्व. ओके, सो हाउ डू यू फाइंड many noises in data, which of the following option would you consider in KNN? अच्छा, when you find many noises in data, अगर तुम्हारे डेटा सेट में काफी ज्यादा नॉइज है, दैट मीन्स काफी ज्यादा आउटलायर्स है, तो क्या करोगे तुम, क्या इंक्रीज करोगे वैल्यू ऑफ के, डिक्रीज करोगे वैल्यू ऑफ के, नॉइज डज नॉट डिपेंड ऑन के, और के इज इक्वल्स टू 0. थिंक अबाउट इट एंड लेट मी नो गाइस, व्हाट वुड यू कंसीडर डूइंग. Okay, so guys, let's suppose, let's take one example. Let's discuss this point more. Let's suppose you have data set, 100 data points you have in your data set. What is the maximum value of k you can take? गाइज व्हाट इज अ मैक्सिमम वैल्यू ऑफ के यू कैन टेक? मैक्सिमम वैल्यू क्या ले सकते हो तुम के की? 100 ले सकते हो। देखो 100 तो मैक्सिमम वैल्यू ले सकते हो ना, उससे ज्यादा 101 तो ले ही नहीं सकते क्योंकि 101 डेटा पॉइंट्स ही नहीं है। तो अब क्या होगा, लेट सपोज तुम्हारे पास 100 डेटा पॉइंट्स है, कुछ क्रॉस है कुछ डॉट्स है, तुम्हारे पास ये डेटा पॉइंट्स है। सो अगर तुम 100 का 100 ले लोगे, अगर तुम k इज इक्वल टू 100 ले लेते हो तो क्या होगा, क्या होगा इस केस में? ऑब्वियसली इट वुड, अगर क्रॉस ज्यादा है तुम्हारे डेटा पॉइंट्स में तो तुम्हारा जो क्या कहते हैं, कोई भी क्वेरी पूछोगे वो क्रॉस बताएगी। अगर तुम्हारे डेटा सेट में डॉट्स ज्यादा है या सर्कल्स ज्यादा है तो कोई भी क्वेरी पूछोगे तो वो सर्कल बताएगी। सो लेट सपोज, मैं सपोज कर लेती हूँ कि इस वाले डेटा सेट में मेरे पास सर्कल ज्यादा है, राइट? अब मेरे पास सर्कल ज्यादा है तो दैट मीन्स कोई भी क्वेरी पूछूं, मैं यहाँ पे क्वेरी पूछ रही हूँ, यहाँ पे क्वेरी पूछ रही हूँ, यहाँ पे क्वेरी पूछ रही हूँ, कहीं भी क्वेरी पूछ रही हूँ, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस हाई k इज इक्वल टू 100 मेरे पास हमेशा सर्कल आएगा, नो मैटर मैं क्या क्वेश्चन पूछ रही हूँ, राइट? एज अ मेजोरिटी क्लास मिल जाएगी। अब देखो मेजोरिटी क्लास मुझे सर्कल मिल गई, अब इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, मेरे पास हाई बायस होगा, ऑब्वियसली ना। हाई बायस क्यों होगा, देखो ट्रेनिंग एरर क्यों ज्यादा होगा मेरे पास, क्योंकि अब मेरे 100 के 100 डेटा पॉइंट्स को, अगर मैं 100 के 100 डेटा पॉइंट्स को भी चेक करती हूँ, ये सर्कल बताएगा मेरा मॉडल, बट इसमें कुछ तो क्रॉस है कुछ सर्कल है, तो मेरे पास हाई बायस हो जाएगा। अब वेरिएंस मेरा बहुत ही मिनिमम हो जाएगा। वाई वेरिएंस लो होगा यहाँ पे, क्योंकि जब आप, वेरिएंस क्या होता है कि भाई तुम्हारा जो मॉडल है वो डिफरेंट डेटा सेट्स पे डिफरेंट रिजल्ट्स दे रहा है। कोई भी एक पर्टिकुलर बड़ा डेटा सेट है, उसके छोटे छोटे पार्ट्स कर लिए, तुमने सबसेट्स ले लिए, अब एक सबसेट पे वो डिफरेंट बिहेव कर रहा है, दूसरे सबसेट पे डिफरेंट बिहेव कर रहा है, दैट मीन्स देयर इज वेरिएबिलिटी इन योर मॉडल फॉर द डेटा सेट। अब यहाँ पे वेरिएबिलिटी नहीं है, कुछ भी डेटा सेट ले लो, कुछ भी क्वेश्चन ले लो, ये हमेशा सर्कल बताएगा, दैट मीन्स वी हैव लो वेरिएंस। हाई बायस लो वेरिएंस, तो कैन आई से दैट कि ये जो केस है ये अंडर फिटिंग का केस है, अंडर फिटिंग का केस है, राइट? ये केस अंडर फिटिंग का है। अब ये तो अंडर फिटिंग का केस हो गया, अब मुझे ये बताओ कि के की क्या मिनिमम वैल्यू क्या ले सकते हो के की में? गाइस आई जस्ट वांट टू नो कि क्या मिनिमम वैल्यू ले सकती हूँ के की में? क्या के की वैल्यू 0 हो सकती है? नहीं। तो मिनिमम वैल्यू क्या हो सकती है के की? 1 हो सकती है। अगर के की वैल्यू 1 है, अब देखो क्या होगा, के की वैल्यू अगर तुम 1 ले लेते हो, मिनिमम वैल्यू ले लेते हो, तो यू हैव सम सर्कल्स एंड यू हैव सम क्रॉस, यहाँ पे भी क्रॉस ले लो, यहाँ पे क्रॉस ले लो, यहाँ पे सर्कल ले लो, ठीक है? इस तरीके का डेटा सेट है। अब देखो, क्योंकि अगर तुम स्मॉल वैल्यू ऑफ के लोगे तो तुम्हारा मॉडल कितना वैरी करेगा। अब यहाँ पे इस तरीके से इतने पोर्शन में अगर तुम कोई भी क्वेरी पूछोगे तो तुम्हें क्रॉस रिजल्ट मिलेगा। क्यों क्रॉस रिजल्ट मिलेगा? देखो यहाँ पे ले लेते हैं, यहाँ पे सर्कल ले लेते हैं, ठीक है, और यहाँ पे एक क्रॉस ले लेते हैं, यहाँ पे एक सर्कल ले लेते हैं। अब देखो होगा क्या कि एक नियरेस्ट नेबर ले रहे हो, लेट सपोज तुम्हारी कोई भी क्वेरी यहाँ पे है, तुम्हारी कोई क्वेरी यहाँ पे है, ठीक है, दिस ब्लू स्पॉट। अब ये ब्लू स्पॉट के पास जाओगे तो क्रॉस है, ठीक है। अब ब्लू स्पॉट के पास क्रॉस है, लेकिन अगर तुम और थोड़े दूर जाके देखो तो बहुत सारे सर्कल्स भी है, बट बिकॉज तुमने के की मिनिमम वैल्यू ली है, व्हाट वुड हैपन हियर, it would assign like whatever the points which are near to this cross assigned as cross, right? And for this one as well, because I have taken outliers in this data set, so ये सारे क्रॉस असाइन होंगे। अब इसी वजह से जो बाकी बचा हुआ है, जो व्हाइट जो भी पॉइंट्स ब्लैक के साथ वाले हैं, ये यहाँ पे क्या होगा तुम्हारा, यहाँ पे असाइन होगा, यहाँ पे असाइन होगा सर्कल, राइट? यहाँ पे भी असाइन होगा सर्कल। तो देखो कितना कितना ज्यादा फिट हो गया मेरा मॉडल ट्रेनिंग डेटा सेट में, बिकॉज ऑफ द स्मॉल वैल्यू ऑफ के, ठीक है। जब आप के की वैल्यू छोटी लेते हो तो मॉडल कितना ओवरफिट कर रहा है, किस तरीके से तुम्हारी बाउंड्री बनी है, कितनी कॉम्प्लेक्स बाउंड्री बनी है। तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है मेरे पास, ओवरफिटिंग, ओवरफिटिंग, राइट? दिस इज ओवरफिटिंग, दैट मींस यू वुड हैव लो बायस एंड हाई वेरिएंस। तो अब देखो, अब वापसी क्वेश्चन पे जाते हैं कि अगर तुम्हारे पास बहुत ज्यादा नॉइजेस है डेटा सेट में, ऑब्वियसली तुम स्मॉल वैल्यू के की ले ही नहीं सकते, तुम्हें इंक्रीज करनी पड़ेगी। देखो ना तो तुम के की बहुत छोटी वैल्यू ले सकते हो, ना के की बहुत बड़ी वैल्यू ले सकते हो, तो तुम्हें कुछ मिडवे निकालना पड़ेगा। तो लेकिन अगर नॉइजेस है तो स्मॉल वैल्यू से तो काम नहीं चलेगा, तो तुम्हें इंक्रीज करनी ही पड़ेगी के की वैल्यू। सो यू हैव टू इंक्रीज द वैल्यू ऑफ के। ऑप्शन फर्स्ट इज करेक्ट. अब ये वाली चीज बताओ गाइस कि किसी को कंफ्यूजन है क्या? अगर नॉइज ज्यादा है डेटा सेट में तो मुझे इंक्रीज क्यों करनी है की वैल्यू? किसी को कंफ्यूजन इस चीज में? Anyone guys in chat section, just let me know guys. ठीक है चलो, अगर कोई, आई एम एज्यूमिंग, क्योंकि कोई कुछ नहीं पूछ रहा है तो आई एम एज्यूमिंग कि सबको क्लियर है. चलो बढ़ते हैं नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे. ओके, द क्वेश्चन सेज दैट 5nn हैज लोअर बायस देन 1nn. अभी हमने देखा है, अभी मैंने बताया अंडर फिटिंग ओवर फिटिंग का केस, सो सेम थिंग यू हैव टू यूज हियर. 5nn के पास लोअर बायस होगा देन 1nn. दिस स्टेटमेंट इज ट्रू और फॉल्स? गाइस अगर आप देखो तो क्या हो रहा था, increasing the value of k, increasing the value of k, increasing your bias as well. So that means if you would increase the value of k, your bias increases and variance decreases if you would increase the value of k. So now they are saying 5nn has lower bias than 1nn. It is not true, obviously, right? This statement is false. दिस स्टेटमेंट इज फॉल्स. भाई ये क्यों फॉल्स है? क्योंकि अभी हमने देखा कि अगर आप इंक्रीज करोगे के की वैल्यू तो बायस इंक्रीज होगा. तो अगर हम बाय 5 और 1nn को कंपेयर करें तो 5nn का ज्यादा बायस होगा एज कंपेयर टू 1nn, राइट? सो दिस इज फॉल्स स्टेटमेंट. दिस इज अनदर क्वेश्चन. 5nn इज मोर रोबस्ट टू आउटलायर्स देन 1nn. भाई द क्वेश्चन सेज हियर कि मुझे 5nn यूज करना चाहिए अगर मेरे पास आउटलायर्स है या 1nn. 5nn मोर कंपैटिबल होगा आउटलायर्स के लिए या फिर 1nn? Just let me know guys. Yeah, the statement is true. I already told you that increasing the value of k क्या होता है, अगर आप बहुत छोटी वैल्यू लेते हो k की तो आउटलायर्स की वजह से बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स बाउंड्री मिलती है, वो ओवरफिटिंग का केस बन जाता है एंड वी डू नॉट वांट दैट. सो अगर मेरे पास आउटलायर्स है, आई हैव टू टेक लार्जर k, right? So that's why this statement is true. So this one is true. Okay, let's see next question. Okay, the question here. Okay guys, we have discussed that we can use knn for regression as well. So this is a question based on that. ठीक है, अभी हमने बात की थी कि knn को रिग्रेशन के लिए यूज कर सकते हैं नहीं कर सकते, तो हम इस कंक्लूजन पे पहुंचे थे कि हाँ knn को यूज कर सकते हैं रिग्रेशन के लिए. तो अब ये क्वेश्चन है कि कोई भी डेटा सेट दिया हुआ है, k इज इक्वल्स टू 3 हमें यूज करना है knn रिग्रेशन, हमें प्रेडिक्शन करनी है पॉइंट 2,3 के लिए. सॉरी सॉरी. ओके तो अब 2,5 के लिए हमारे पास वैल्यू है 3.4. 5,5 के साथ मतलब x1 फीचर जब 5 वैल्यू ले रहा है, x2 फीचर 5 वैल्यू ले रहा है, तो y की वैल्यू 5 आ रही है. अब हमको क्लासिफाई करना है कि अगर मेरे पास कोई पॉइंट 2,3 है, x1 इज 2, x2 इज 3, तो हमारे पास y की क्या वैल्यू होगी? नॉट क्लासिफिकेशन, रिग्रेशन. दैट मींस दिस वैल्यू है, दिस न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू, राइट? सो नाउ लेट मी नो कि 2,3 के लिए कौन सी वैल्यू आएगी, क्या वैल्यू आएगी. जस्ट सॉल्व इट. क्या करोगे? 2,3 का डिस्टेंस निकालोगे इन सारे पॉइंट्स के साथ, जो भी 3 नियरेस्ट नेबर्स होंगे उनको कंसीडर कर लोगे, राइट? और उसकी एवरेज वैल्यू निकाल लोगे. सो गाइस डू दैट और मेरे को बताओ कि क्या आ रहा है आंसर. तो देखो अगर मैं 2,3 का डिस्टेंस 2,5 के साथ निकालूं, देखो सबसे पहले मैंने देखा कि अच्छा यूक्लिडियन डिस्टेंस दिया है, ठीक है, तो पहले मेंशन देखना कि यूक्लिडियन डिस्टेंस है या नहीं. ओके, आजम इज सेइंग इज इट 2.8. ओके, लेट्स चेक. 2,3 का डिस्टेंस 2,5 के साथ व्हाट वुड आई डू? 2 minus 2 square 0, 5 minus 3 square, that means 4. That would give you distance 2. Again 5 minus 2 square, that is 3 square, and 5 minus 3 square, that is 2 square. 3 3s are 9, 2 2s are 4, that means square root 13. 3 minus 2 square, that is 1, plus 3 minus 3 square, that would give you 1 unit of distance. 6 minus 2 square, 4 square, and 3 minus 3 square, that is 4, 0. So that would give you 4. Up 2 minus 2, 0, or 2 minus 3, 1. So this would give you 1. 4 minus 2, 2 square, 1 minus 3, 2 square, 2 2s are 4, 2 2s are 4, 2 root 2. ठीक है, ये सारे डिस्टेंस आ रहे हैं 6 के 6 पॉइंट्स के साथ. ऑब्वियसली ये कम डिस्टेंस है, ये कम डिस्टेंस है, और ये कम डिस्टेंस है. तो कौन कौन से पॉइंट्स के साथ कम डिस्टेंस है? फर्स्ट पॉइंट के साथ, थर्ड पॉइंट के साथ, एंड फोर्थ पॉइंट के साथ. अब इन सबकी वैल्यू ले लो. 3.4, 3 एंड 4.5. मैंने सही कैलकुलेशन करी है गाइस? ओके सॉरी, मैंने गलत डेटा पॉइंट्स ले लिए. फर्स्ट, थर्ड और फिफ्थ, दिस, ये वाले डेटा पॉइंट के साथ. ठीक है, तो अब इनकी सबकी वैल्यू ले लो. 3.4, 3 एंड 2. सो 3.4 प्लस 3 प्लस 2 डिवाइडेड बाय 3. एवरेज वैल्यू लेनी है मुझे, तो एवरेज वैल्यू हो जाएगी 3 3s are 6, 3 3 6 7 8.4 by 3, 3 2s are 6 and 3 8s are 24. सो मेरे को क्या वैल्यू मिल गई? 2.8. सो ऑप्शन सी इज करेक्ट. मेरे को बताओ इसमें किसी को कोई कंफ्यूजन कि 2.8 कैसे आंसर है? गाइस किसी को कोई कंफ्यूजन कि 2.8 आंसर कैसे आया? जल्दी से मुझको बताओ. ये सबको क्लियर है? एंड गाइस बिफोर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, प्लीज लाइक द सेशन. गाइस बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं क्वेश्चंस बनाने के लिए तुम्हारे लिए, राइट? तो लाइक करो जो, जिससे कि और स्टूडेंट्स तक पहुंचे. और अगर तुमने चैनल सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो सब्सक्राइब भी कर लो, ठीक है? क्योंकि अभी कल भी हमारा सेशन होने वाला है, और अगर तुमने पिछला सेशन नहीं देखा है, यस्टरडे सेशन, तो वो भी यूट्यूब पे पड़ा है, तुम जाके देख सकते हो. यू कैन जस्ट चेक द सेशन ऑन आवर चैनल. ठीक है, चलो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं. ओके गाइस, this question I have specifically taken from GATE CS. ये ना बेस थ्योरम पे क्वेश्चन है. I hope all of you know what is Bayes theorem. Why, now you would say that ma'am why you have taken question on from probability? Because जो तुम्हारी नेव बेस एल्गोरिथम है ना, वो पूरी की पूरी बेस थ्योरम पे है. तो अगर तुमको मशीन लर्निंग के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने हैं और तुमको चाहिए कि भाई मशीन लर्निंग में तुम्हें इन एंड आउट आता हो, तो तुमको पता होना चाहिए बेस थ्योरम क्या होती है. सो इट इज सिंपल. इफ आई नीड टू फाइंड आउट प्रोबेबिलिटी ए गिवन बी, ये मैं फाइंड आउट कर सकती हूँ. प्रोबेबिलिटी बी गिवन ए इनटू प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ ए अपॉन प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ बी, राइट? तो ये मेरी होती है बेस थ्योरम. तो इस वाले क्वेश्चन को स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो, सॉल्व कर लेना. जस्ट टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट और पिक्चर ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन, सॉल्व इट बाय योरसेल्फ. तो सिंपल नेव बेस थ्योरम के ऊपर क्वेश्चन है, खुद से सॉल्व कर लेना इसको. इसके सॉल्यूशंस भी तुमको मिल जाएंगे कहीं भी. सिंपल क्वेश्चन है. अगर नहीं मिलता है, अगर कुछ भी कंफ्यूजन रहती है, हम कल इसको सॉल्व करेंगे. ठीक है, चलो आगे नेव बेस के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं. मैंने बेस थ्योरम का तुम्हारे लिए ऐड किया था, आंसर भी गिवन है. ठीक है, अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, नेव बेस एल्गोरिथम कैन बी यूज्ड व्हेन सम इनपुट फीचर्स आर इन कॉन्टिन्यूअस रेंज. अगर कुछ फीचर्स कॉन्टिन्यूअस रेंज में है, तो क्या तब भी हम नेव बेस एल्गोरिथम यूज कर सकते हैं? क्या करते हैं नेव बेस एल्गोरिथम? हम प्रोबेबिलिटीज ही तो फाइंड करते हैं. तो क्या अगर कॉन्टिन्यूअस रेंज में तो भी यूज कर सकते हैं? टेल मी गाइस. So the answer is true. What would happen? Let's suppose तुमको एज दे दी, right? 24, 25, 27 and 32 and 12, 18, इस तरीके से तुम्हें एज दे दी 13. तो अब क्या करो, इसको डिवाइड कर लो. ऐसे डिवाइड कर लो, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25 and 25 to 30. So तुम्हारी 4 कैटेगरीज बन गई. अब तुम सॉल्व कर सकते हो, राइट? अब तुम सॉल्व कर सकते हो. तो okay, Prashanti Singh talking in English. Guys, I have like previously some of the students has asked me to talk in Hindi, so that's why I'm doing that. We are facing this issue. Okay, so see what we can do. We can divide, if I have some numerical feature or continuous values of a particular feature, we can divide it into classes by taking a specific range, right? Then we can work on naive Bayes algorithm. I hope this thing is clear. So yeah, we can use it. Now the question here is, what is a naive assumption? Okay, the question here is that I just want to know that why we call Bayes algorithm naive Bayes algorithm. We can simply says that it is a Bayes algorithm. Why we have said that it is naive Bayes? What is the meaning of naive? Right, the meaning of naive is innocent, right? So this algorithm is innocent because of certain reasons which we are going to see here. So they are asking what is the innocent assumptions we have taken in naive Bayes classifier. So options are, all the classes are independent of each other, all the features of a class are independent of each other, the most probable feature for a class is a most important feature to be considered for classification, all the features of a class are conditionally dependent on each other. Tell me guys, just tell me what would be the answer here. ओके गाइस, मैं ट्राई करूंगी कि मैं दोनों लैंग्वेज में थोड़ा कवर कर लूं, हिंदी इंग्लिश, बिकॉज बहुत स्टूडेंट्स की डिमांड आ रही है, ठीक है? तो देखो, ऑल द क्लासेस आर इंडिपेंडेंट, ये तो चीज गलत है, क्लासेस इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं चाहिए होती मुझे, राइट? दैट आई डू नॉट रिक्वायर। ऑल द फीचर्स ऑफ अ क्लास आर इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ ईच अदर, जो भी सारे फीचर्स होते, दैट इज अ कॉमन assumptions, that is a naive assumptions I take, that all the classes, all the features are independent, right? Why this is generally not true in my real life data set, right? If I'm taking features, they are independent of each other, but here we take naive assumptions as all the feature of a class are independent of each other. Now another point is the most probable feature for a class is most important feature. That is not true, right? Naive Bayes does not discuss that this feature is important and this feature is not important. अब देखो, all the features of a class are conditionally dependent on each other, ये भी गलत है। इसमें सही क्या होगा? देखो, इसमें सही होगा all the features of a class are conditionally independent on each other. दो assumptions लेके चलते हैं, दो naive assumptions लेके चलते हैं। पहली naive assumption होती है all the features of a class are independent of each other, दूसरी naive assumption होती है all the features of a class are conditionally independent on each other. Because अगर तुम देखो, तुम naive Bayes algorithm में तुमने क्या लिया था, x1 x2, अगर यहाँ पे y है तो तुमने लिख लिया था probability x1 given y and probability x2 given y, right? And ये तुम तभी लिख पाए थे क्योंकि ये conditionally independent थे, right? So that's why these two are assumption, but in this case this option is not true, only option B is correct, right? So only option B is correct here. Let me know guys if there is any confusion in this. If not, let's move to next question. Given a data set with k binary valued attributes for a two class classification, the number of parameters to be estimated for a learning a naive Bayes classifier is. Tell me guys, what would be the answer here? Just tell me. Tell me guys, what would be the answer here? So let's suppose we have some features x1, x2, x3, and let's say I have k binary valued attributes, right? And I have one output value and it has two classes. I have one class and I have another class. So first of all, I have to find out probabilities of both the classes. So if I have find out probability of one class, let's say I have find out probability of one class, then second probability of second class I can find out by subtracting probability of one out of one, right? Probability of, I can subtract probability of first class out of one, I'll get probability of second class. So that means here I have to find out one probability. Now for all these k features, for all these k features, what I have to do, I have to find out probability of, let's say, x1 given class c1, right? I have to find out probability x1 given c1 and x1 given c2, that I need to find out. So using this probability x1 given c1, can I right, I can find out probability x1 given c1, probability x1 given c2, for because it has, x1 has two values. Okay, now x1 is binary valued feature. So x1, let's say x1 is taking a value and b value, value and b value. So what would you do? You would find out probability x1 equals to a and x1 equals to a. If you have already find out these two probabilities, now this you can find out probability x1 is equals to b given c1. You can find out 1 minus probability x1 equals to a given c1. And similarly you can find out this as well. Probability, you can find out probability x2 equals to b given c2 using this probability. So now only two probabilities are required for working on one feature, and same we have k features. For k features, we have more k features. देखो भाई k features है हमारे पास, और each for each feature we have to find out two probabilities. So that means we have to find out 2k probabilities and one probability for the classes. So 2k plus 1. So here option B is correct. बताओ भाई किसी को कोई प्रॉब्लम है कि 2k plus 1 कैसे आया? मैं रिपीट कर रही हूँ. क्या हुआ कि मैंने, मेरे पास x1 की दो वैल्यूज थी, क्योंकि बाइनरी वैल्यूड एट्रीब्यूट्स जो ये फीचर्स है मेरे पास, ये बाइनरी वैल्यूड है. x1 a और b वैल्यू ले रहा है, राइट? So I find out probability x1 equals to a given c1, probability x1 equals to a given c2. With the help of this, I can find out probability x1 equals to b given c1, probability x2 equals to b given c2. ठीक है, इन दोनों की हेल्प से मुझे ये दोनों probabilities अलग से नहीं निकालनी पड़ी. Now I can use these two probabilities for x1. Now two probabilities I'll find out similarly for x2 and for x3, for xk, for each of the k features. Right? So that means 2k plus 1 is my correct answer. Let me know guys if there is any confusion in this. Okay, so guys, that's all we are going to cover today. We have a lot more questions, right, which we are going to cover in the next class, right? So we are going to cover more questions in tomorrow's class, which will be again 5 to 6 p.m. So guys, be available. And if you haven't attended the previous session, which is yesterday's session, you can go through that. We have discussed lots of questions in that lecture as well. So yeah, that's all from my side, guys. Thank you for joining. If there is any question, just let me know. Otherwise, okay. And also after this session, if you have any doubt, you can either ask me in the next session, which will be tomorrow, or you can ask in comment section as well. Right, Azam, we are going to cover more questions, more and more questions. Like we are going to cover topic by topic. Till now, we have covered questions on KNN, and now we are working on naive Bayes. We are going to moving forward, cover every algorithm. So yeah, guys, that's all from my side. Just let us know what you have learned, like you have learned from us in comment section, right? Or do you need anything else? Just let us know in the comment section. So in future, we'll be able to provide you that. And guys, before moving forward, just like the session. Okay, so before ending the session, guys, please like the session so that it can reach to more students. Thank you for joining.